What is going on, everybody? Have you ever tried to give yourself a foot massage? Then you might want to play Slaanesh Demons in Warhammer 40K. Right now, we are talking about the Exalted Seeker Chariot. This is the big boy unit. This one is the kit that is basically two chariots combined into one giant chariot. Now, this is coming in at 80 points in your heavy support slot. It is got a damage chart, so its stats do decrease as it takes wounds, but it starts out at move 12, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 3, strength 4, toughness 5, 12 wounds, 8 attacks, 8 leadership, 4 up armor save. It actually has an okay armor save in the game, although AP 1 and such is out there, so you might be relying on your 5 up invul. Now, toughness 5, 12 wounds, pretty awesome. Unfortunately, your stats that decrease are move, which goes 12, 10, 8, but even at 10, you're fairly fast. Your weapon skill goes 2, 3, 4, but when you go to 3, you're still just as good as the other ones. And your attacks go 8, 6, 4, which even at 6 is okay. Now, this thing for 80 points, I think, has some play. It's a very big, crazy model, so it's kind of a pain in the butt to assemble and paint and actually just transport to your local store. You probably don't see them a lot. They're pretty wacky. It's gigantic. Let me show you here. This used to come in a box like this, and it is just crazy big. But the weapons are the 6-inch whip. It's assault D6, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. You can shoot it into combat like a pistol, but you can also shoot it into your friends' combats, not like a pistol. Pistols can't do that, but this can. The piercing claws are the same as all the demonettes. Strength user, which is strength 4, 5 near a herald, AP 1, 1 damage. On a roll of a 6+, it's AP 4, which is going to be nice to slip in a few extra wounds, especially if you make it into combat with your full 8 attack profile, hitting on 2s, and possibly rerolling 1s if there's a demon prince or syll'esske nearby. Pretty sweet. And then on top of that, you get 8 additional attacks from the horses, because you have 4 steeds and they each lick you twice. Lick, 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 lick. So you got that going for you. And I've said in the other videos, getting licked to death in 40K is one of the better ways to go. So if this thing makes it into combat, it has a whopping 16 attacks at strength 4, 8 with AP, sometimes at AP 4, mostly AP 1, and 8 that are just strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. And those 8 of those 2 can be modified by +1 strength. So this thing also has Quicksilver Swiftness, and it is a Demoness Slaanesh, so it always strikes first in combat, and it can run and charge with a 12-inch move, a lucky advance roll. You might be able to make it first turn. If not, you can put a lot of pressure. This, I think, has some play, because this definitely has the attacks to take care of small units in the middle of the battlefield. It puts out quite a bit of damage, and at toughness 5, 12 wounds, most of those units are not winning in that combat. They're not knocking you down and walking away survivors. So on top of that, roll a d6 for each enemy model within 1 inch when you end a charge move, and they suffer a mortal wound on a 6. Now, this thing is on a giant circle base, but you might be able to get quite a few models within 1 inch. Unfortunately, this thing overhangs its base by like a crazy amount, so it's kind of bad design. They're just trying to make this thing fit into the game, but they clearly should have. I mean, it probably should be on an Imperial Knight base for how wide this is. If you look, I don't think we can do a 360 here, but no, it's not going to do 360, but shout out to Bile Pipers. You're on the GW website there. That's pretty sweet. And anyway, if you look at this thing, it's greatly overhangs the front. The steeds are overhanging it by quite a bit with their tongues especially. And then this thing's chariot spikes on the side, the scythes, and the whips. It's a crazy model. It's really, really cool looking on the battlefield. It is gigantic. And it's going to cost you about $60. So I definitely recommend picking up this box set when you want one of those. Or if you want any chariots in general, because you're going to want some of this other stuff anyway. And I don't think it's a terrible idea to experiment with the chariots or pick up one or two. And if you like the way they look, I mean, picking up 3 of these gives you 30 Demonettes, 15 Seekers, and 3 Exalted Chariots. That's not terrible. Or so we think. We only got one more unit to go over in the Slaanesh Demon Masterclass. That will be the Soul Grinder, so please subscribe and stick around for that video. Go back and watch the other ones if you're interested in Slaanesh 40K. We're going to be doing some army lists, and hopefully very soon, possibly as soon as next week, be trying out the army, just some rough ideas. I don't expect it to do very well right off the top, but it's going to be a learning curve. So hopefully it's a fun learning curve with lots of lashing tongues. If you're interested in any of these, we got links below for various hobby items, so check those out too. Thank you for supporting the channel. See you in the next one.